Hi there. For those of us joining live, I just would like to let you know how you can leave a comment on Facebook. Just go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and enable whatever authorization they need, and you can leave us some comments. I'll check at the end to see if you guys leave anything for us, and we can answer any questions that you have. I am Morgan Sheets. I'm the host of the Live Well, Be Well, Do Good show. I'm a master wellness coach and also a media consultant. And joining me today is the lovely Lizzie LaCour, who's the founder of Kinship Content, and she's an amazing website design studio and is all about helping holistic health and wellness professionals. So thank you for being here with me this morning, or afternoon for you, Lizzie.
Yes, thank you, Morgan. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm so excited we were able to do this.
Me too. So tell us a little bit more how you got started with Kinship Content and, decided to go in the direction that you did and start a website design studio.
Yeah, that's a good question because my business trajectory is more like a jungle gym as opposed to like a straight up ladder, I feel like. So I started Kinship Content launched in 2018 as a social media agency. So my background originally is in digital marketing, and I built my business up and got a whole roster of clients, only to realize that social media was just not what I wanted to do long term.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and it's life lessons, business lessons. I also realized that my career, I have 30 plus more years, so it'll probably happen several times over anyway. So I tried to take it as a learning experience, but at the same time, when I was doing social media, I was also doing kind of community management and digital marketing for AFPA Fitness. Some of your audience and community might be familiar with them. They do like they're kind of like they do health coach certifications, personal training, education certifications, all of that. So
what does that stand for, if I can ask?
American Association for Fitness and Professionals. AFPA,
American Fitness
Professionals Associates.
Okay.
It's such a mouthful. That's why I always just say AFPA. That's why it's funny that I just stuttered when you asked me, but yes. It's a mouthful, so we just always shorten it to AFPA. Yeah. But they've been around for like 25 years, really great team, tons of graduates. So while I was working for them, and I still actually work for them in a different capacity, I was super immersed in the health coach and nutrition space in terms of working with a lot of graduates. And the biggest thing I was finding was that when graduates were they had their certification in hand and they were ready to start helping people and they had all this newfound knowledge, but they felt like, okay, what's next? And part of that is, your online presence. And there were a lot of questions about website design and branding and how do I position myself in this, how do I find my niche? How do I do, set up my packages and my services for the right people? Because they had all of this great knowledge in terms of the holistic health side, but the marketing side and the design side was more difficult. So at the same time, I had been really interested. I've always been interested in design. I took like all of the Adobe classes in college just for fun. And then I started taking some coding courses and Squarespace design courses. And so long story short, I will spare you all the details. Slowly over the past kind of a 2-year process, I like completely transferred my business from social media and digital marketing to working with holistic health and wellness, like women in holistic health and wellness on website design and kind of like branding and positioning. And I can confidently say that I absolutely love it. I'm really glad that I did it. It was a long process, but that's kind of how I've gotten to where I am today.
I love it. I mean, you're taking your passion and you're helping the women that really need it the most.
Yeah.
And it's so essential because without that tool, they can't actually live out the passion, and it's so frustrating. I mean,
I know.
I also used to help a community of wellness coaches, and I would see the same thing. They would graduate, they'd be so excited, like they are like, I can't wait to get out and find and help my people. But like if they got a standard website with whatever training program, it wasn't really what they wanted, and we all want that professional looking image, but it's just so hard if you don't have the skill set. So
totally.
I love that you're helping them really be able to live their dream doing what you love. I mean, that's just the ultimate win-win. For sure.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel so grateful that I kind of figured it out, at least for this phase of my life. And exactly like you said, I worked in nonprofits a while ago, so I've always had this inner pull of like, I have to do something that feels like I'm actually making a difference. And I'm genuinely making a difference in these women's lives so that they can go on and make such an impact in other people's lives. It's completely fulfilling. So yeah, I feel really grateful for it.
It is. I feel you. That's how I feel about my work. So my heart is just like resonating, happy right there with you.
Yes.
So for those of us that join us, like, hey, teach us how to make the wellness websites. What are those essential elements that we really need to focus on when you're starting your website, building your website, revamping your website, just in general, these key elements that we need to pay attention to attract our ideal clients to us?
Yeah. So I love this question. One of my values is, especially if you're just starting out, to don't overwhelm yourself with trying to do all of the things. Yeah. And I kind of bring that into website design in terms of when you're just starting out. There are definitely things you should be focusing on when it comes to your website. But I always try to encourage my clients and my community to not let these things overwhelm you. And so I guess the first thing that I want to touch on, kind of to backtrack a little bit, is like the idea of why we need a website in the first place. And the reason I just wanted to bring this up is because specifically the past couple of months with AFPA and the community that I work with there's been a lot of questions of, do I even need a website, And so I feel like this is a common question when people are just starting out, because it is a big investment of your time, your energy, and sometimes your money. So do you even need it in the first place? And I know I could be biased because I'm a website designer for sure. I acknowledge that. But I do really believe in the power of setting up a website, especially in the beginning. So for a couple of reasons, the main reason is that, we own our websites, right? So things like social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, we don't own that content, right? And so, and we're at the mercy of the latest algorithm and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm not anti-social media. I probably sound like I am based off of my past, but you'll see
And everybody, if you go to her Instagram, it is seriously the most fun Instagram account.
Yeah, you've seen me. See, I have fun on Instagram. I do love it. Yeah. But I understand the purpose that it serves, and I understand the purpose that a website serves, right? So with something like Instagram, honestly, too, when I prioritize my website, it takes the pressure off of something like Instagram for me. And when I prioritize my email list, which we can get into that too in a little bit. But so website, you own it, right? So unfortunately, the nature of Instagram, especially this past year, a little tip is that the nature of 2020, there's a lot of accounts that are getting reported on. I've had several business friends that have lost their accounts overnight because of some sort of troll, marking their account as spam or something like that, just to mess with them. And then Instagram is being so strict about just deleting accounts because they're trying to mitigate everything that's going on in 2020. That I've had several people lose their accounts. A couple of them got them back, but it's still, and I don't want to say this to scare people, guys, don't be scared. But it's just something to think about, right? So we don't own our social
be aware, because that would be heartbreaking if you put all your eggs in that basket and then lost it.
Exactly. And so a big learning lesson for this past year with a lot of, it was mostly designers that it happened to this year, was kind of, focusing more on a website because you own your website. So the first thing is just understanding that it really is important to have a website when you're first starting out. Now, do you need to invest thousands of dollars when you're first starting out? Absolutely not. As somebody that designs custom websites, I do not think, or do I really even recommend for most service-based providers to invest thousands of dollars if you're just launching your business. And there's real like strategic reasons behind it. For one, when you first start your business, you're still figuring it out. You're still figuring out who your ideal market might be, what your messaging is, your services, your packages. Your first year of business is supposed to be messy and fun and like just experimenting. And a lot of that stuff comes from doing. Like, so if you spend a lot of money on a website and all of this, brand identity, to only realize that in a year from now, actually I worked with all these other clients this year and I really liked that niche and I want to go with that niche. And then you realize you kind of have to redo a lot of things. It's going to be frustrating. So I would say the first, yes, right. It's so hard not to do it. I understand because I'm also have perfectionist syndrome. I teach about like doing, the bare minimum and trying to just do what you can with what you have. But I also am like having to tell myself that every day. So when I say this, I'm also saying it to me. So if you're starting out, prioritize a website. Don't spend tons of money. You can either just, go the Google route and try to invest in your time into setting one up yourself on a platform like Squarespace or WordPress or something like that. I also recommend templates. It's something that's blowing up right now over the past, especially during COVID. A lot of designers are trying to offer more accessible options. Mm-hmm. And so templates are a great route, mostly because you can buy a template, you can invest in a template, relatively low cost for what you get. And then you basically get step-by-step instructions. Here's what to do to set it up, and you can be launched and ready to go. And then it's also made with like design principles and conversion in mind. Whereas if you're trying to build it yourself, you're probably investing more time into trying to figure all of that out, and maybe you miss the mark there. So those are two options. Whatever works for you. You could do a template or just start from scratch, but definitely get that up. And I suggest when people are first starting out to just go for a home page, a services page, and a contact page. Like don't
services contact.
Yeah, like about page is great if you're feeling up for it, but you can do a little bit of an about bio on the homepage, which I'll get to that in a little bit, but just go for home, services, contact. Call it a day, okay? And launch with that, right?
And include a photo of you somewhere, please.
Yes. Okay, so that's actually, I love that you said that because I kind of go on little tangents about this. I'll try to reel it in. This is the second thing I want like new holistic health coaches and wellpreneurs to focus on is photography, and invest in high quality photography. This does not mean you have to spend, again, hundreds and thousands of dollars. You can have a low investment for a relatively high return on your investment if you invest in high quality. And there are studies that have been done that show the power of high quality photography, and especially with the wellness industry and service-based businesses, you're providing a service that's usually you're the face of your business. And then not only that, with something as intimate as holistic health and wellness, you're providing something that's pretty personal, right? And so showing your face, it really is kind of important, and using high quality photography to do that is important.
And my pet peeve, so I would love for you to have direct some people to some resources. So when we're talking about high quality photography, we are not talking about portrait photography. Do not hire a family photographer, because what's heartbreaking for me is I see these health and wellness professionals are like, okay, I'm going to invest in photography, but then they invest in what I just said, and they've got like either a corporate backdrop behind them with like the great background, or family portraits, even like like if they are outside shooting, like in situation, we typically call it, like in an environment shot, it's still, if you're coming from the branding or the marketing or like me, the media space, we can all look at those pictures and know that you worked with a family photographer, and it will cost you opportunities.
Absolutely.
So help us, let's dive a little bit deeper if you want to on the photography. And just, like, where do you recommend your clients go when they're looking for a photographer?
I love this question so much because I'm very passionate about it. Everything you just said, absolutely. So the first thing I tell my community and my clients to do if they're sourcing their own photography, especially if they're like building a template or something like that, they're kind of going the DIY route and they're just starting out. Think about your ideal audience first and think about your brand, right? So I know it's kind of hard to do, but think about your website. How is your website going to feel? What is it going to look like? What are the kind of color choices you think you want to pick out? What do you think is going to resonate the most with your audience and, you know, the services that you provide? Is it kind of like a more light and airy type feel? Are we going more outdoor, natural? Are we doing more moody, dark? Whatever it is, you want your photography to match that, right? So, and one of the ways that I do this is I kind of, first of all, I use Pinterest and I highly recommend using Pinterest. A quick tip for Pinterest though, that I've actually found with my clients that could be difficult is that a lot of clients, a lot of times with Pinterest, right, it's an algorithm, like everything is an algorithm today. So if you're just starting out with Pinterest, it can be kind of difficult to find what it is that you really think you like. And you might kind of find some crap, at first when you're searching. Yeah. And so a tip that I have is like, find some designers that you like or some photographers that you like, go to their Pinterests, and usually they have curated boards and lots of different inspiration, and start there. Start by following them, following their boards, and then you can find more inspiration based off of their boards. And that's a good starting place as opposed to starting on Pinterest for the first time, typing in photography inspiration. You might find that family photographer, you know, that is, and you're thinking, I don't know, especially if you're not experienced in this realm, you just are thinking, okay, I guess this is it. But you don't know what else is out there. So start with artists, photographers, designers. I have a great Pinterest. Anyone can go on there and see like all the different inspiration I have.
Is that also / kinship content?
Yeah, it's kinship. Yeah, kinship_content. I can send it to you as well. Or no, I think it is just kinship content, no underscore. That's my Instagram. Yeah, so, and I'll send it to you, but yeah, so start there. And then I would say curate like a board of inspiration, kind of your own little mood board. And then once you find something that you feel like feels cohesive and right, then I would suggest if you're on Instagram, start on Instagram and see if you can find different photographers within your area that kind of have this style that you're looking for. Because that's another thing, is not every photographer is going to have the style that you're looking for. You can't just hire any, you know, it's not the way that it works necessarily.
Now you have to look at their portfolio. And if you would not want to be in any of the images that you see in their portfolio, do not hire them, because it's not going to come out different for you than what you see there. And to sum up, we're really asking people to look for like branding photographer. You know, you do. I don't really know personally. That's always what I look for, like branding, personal branding, or just branding is really kind of what you want to focus on.
Absolutely. That's super smart. And that's a great place to start. And then I always suggest like sending them your mood board and saying like, this is kind of what I had in mind. And then they can be honest with you and let you know. And that actually really helps them as well. So I would start there. And then in terms of your website, like absolutely, we've already established you need the photography. And then if you're on a budget, because you're just starting out, you can get one of the smaller packages and then you can supplement with stock photography. I always recommend trying paid stock photography first. Stocksy.com is like my tried and true go-to. For very relatively low cost of investment, you can get super high quality photos for your site that you can supplement then with your kind of like brand photography that you get with your photographer. But if that's not in the cards, you could also try something like Unsplash or Pexels. The only catch there is that a lot of the photos are kind of the same, so you might have a hard time standing out, because I tend to see on the health and wellness sites, a lot of them have kind of the same stock photos. But if you can, you know, invest a little bit more money, the like $15 a photo at Stocksy is so elevated.
I know.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's a nominal investment. If you just need like 3 great images, you're looking at $45 and you're going to have something that's used less widely than like Unsplash or Pexel.
Yes, exactly.
I know I see enough of those images that I know, and I use those sites enough myself that I know what comes from there.
Literally, yeah.
When I see it. Yeah.
Like, oh, there's that orange picture. I've seen that
That's
before.
Unsplash. Yeah.
So yeah, so okay. I do like to recap. So it's like we're gonna get a site. We're gonna just do a few pages. Photography, focus on photography. That's something you want to focus on in the beginning. Write that down. Put a highlighter over it. You're gonna want to focus on that. The last thing that there's 2 other things that I recommend focusing on. The first one is your email list. And this is, more in the digital marketing realm. Now, when I say email list, I don't want to overwhelm. You don't need to take an email marketing course or try to figure out how to set up elaborate funnels or anything. But I always tell my community that you will not regret a year from now having started up an email list and collecting emails and growing that, because emails, like website, we own that, right? So that is a benefit. And so I do try to tell people when they're first starting out to try to come up with some sort of opt-in to put on their website that speaks to their ideal client, their ideal customer, help solve a problem. I can go deeper into this if you want, but it's something that I definitely recommend. But I also think let's do it easy. Let's just pick something. Figure out what it is that your audience asks you about a lot. If you don't have an audience yet, go to your competitors, women that are serving a similar audience than you. What's their audience asking about? What questions do they have a lot? And then create a resource. You can create in like Canva or something that speaks to that. And then you're going to connect that to an email provider. And that's really like all you have to do when you first start out. Just start there. And then later on, you can figure out the funnels and all that stuff. But if you're just starting out, I do suggest having some sort of incentive because not only is when you have an opt-in on your site, a lot of times when someone lands on your website, they don't do anything the first or second time. So usually it takes between 3 and 5 visits for someone to make a decision and convert. However, having an opt-in is a chance for them to get to know you more, to build up that trust, and to keep you top of mind. And then on the flip side, you are also getting warm leads, people that are interested in what you have to say. It's twofold. It's so valuable. And I'm not sure, many people that are watching this may already know this, like, yeah, no, duh. But I do like to say it just in case, because I really do believe in it.
Yeah, I see a lot sign up for my email newsletter. That doesn't work. So I think it's important to emphasize what you're talking about, and really, I think people almost feel bad, like, I don't want them to take their email. But if you provide something that's super valuable, like what you're talking about, and when you really get in the mindset of what your ideal client needs, you've already done all the work that you're talking about. You looked at how they want to feel, what they want to know. You're looking at some of the questions they ask. And if you can just give them one quick win that is associated with your work, then when they hit your website, if you get someone like me, honestly, I don't typically go back to people's websites. It's a one shot. So if I see if I like the person and they provide a service that I'm interested in and they have an opt-in that's going to help me take my next step, I'll sign up for it. And I may not be ready to buy right then, but if I like them, their work appeals to the level of person I'm looking to work with, then yeah, I'll give them my email. I want whatever next step. And then they get in my inbox, and they may get in my inbox for years sometimes. Yeah. But eventually I've developed that relationship and I reach out to them. So I'm on board with you how important it is. And I want to just emphasize again, from everything you're talking about with the website, as a person looking to hire other people, I never hire people that don't have a photo. Like if you don't have a photo of yourself, I'm gone. Yeah. If you have a photo of yourself with sunglasses on, I'm gone. I I want to see you as a person, because that's who we hire, right? We hire the person, and you just want to have that clarity really quickly. And that's what I love that you're touching on when you're looking at their site, to get a feel for who is this person, like that brief bio you're talking about. Like we all talk about know, like, and trust, but experientially, what that really is, we're looking, does this person feel in alignment with me?
Yeah, totally. That kind of like actually segues into my last bit of like what to focus on, which is funny. I feel like I had so much to talk about today, but I could just talk about this stuff all day long. But I do want to make sure that we touch on the messaging piece, which is exactly what you were just kind of segmenting into, because that's the last thing, right? So we have the website, simple website. You're going to buy a template. You're going to do it yourself. You're going to get that photography, and then you're going to create an opt-in that solves a problem. And then you're going to get your messaging right. This to me is one of the more important things. I would say up there with photography, because especially in the wellness space, people get lost on the messaging. It's so unfortunate because we have so many women that are providing like literally life-changing services, actually like improving the health and well-being of people's lives, yet it gets lost in their messaging on their website. And you have to think about your ideal client. And what I'm learning over the past several years working in this niche is, and as a customer myself, I purchase from people like this as well. A lot of the times the people that need your services the most are the least familiar with the holistic health and wellness space. So when someone comes to your website and there's a lot of fluffy industry jargon on there, or it's not so clear and direct about who you are, what you do, who you serve, and why, and what the outcome is, they're going to lose you. And I just see this again and again. It gets so confusing where you're like on the website and you're getting down to the homepage and you're like, but wait, what does this person do? That's what you want to avoid.
We want to avoid the typical, I help people live healthier and happier lives.
Yes, no, exactly. So being very specific is key. And you touched on this earlier, which I loved because it's so important to focus on the experience and the outcomes as opposed to the deliverables. So the deliverables are important. They serve a purpose. Deliverables meaning we have 6 months together. There's going to be week-long coaching, and you're going to get access to my nutrition templates and this and a recipe book and a meal plan. That stuff is important. It serves its purpose. I think that's better for like a services page, but especially on the homepage when you're trying to make that connection and get people to follow through, focus on what they get as a result of working with you. How is it going to make them feel? What are the tangibles of how is their life going to be better as a result of working with you?
Can you throw out a few super specific examples for people?
Yes. Yeah. So I actually kind of have a formula that works pretty well.
Awesome.
And I have a guide on this, and I have like blog posts. I can send you a link to the guide and the blog post.
Is that your Find Your Wellness Niche guide, or is that something different?
It's actually called Copy That Converts. I should have made this one. Now that I think about it, it should have been the one that goes along with this, but I can send you that.
I think you gave me Copy That Converts. Honestly, I would have taken ownership, but I chose this one. So she gave me the right one. I just put it. So.
Okay, no worries. So
but if you go to Kinship Content, you'll.
Yes. Yeah. Copy That Converts. And there's also a blog post on like writing your messaging and your brand bio and everything. Cause this is to me so important. If you want to actually convert people into booking your discovery call, booking your program, even buying your course, your membership, et cetera, et cetera. So in a nutshell, like this might sound overwhelming. I'm the type of person that when I'm listening to videos and webinars, I like to listen and take stuff in. And then I suggest following it up by like going to the blog post or whatever, the opt-in, and like going through the workbook and writing it down and really thinking about it. So a formula you can, to write like a brand bio, which a brand bio, typically you really want this to be like front and foremost on your website, right? So on the website, we have what's called above the fold and below the fold. And above the fold is simply put, when you land on a website, the first thing you see is above the fold. It's very, very important to
very
have
important.
Very important, right? Get that high quality photo. And a great tip is to like put your brand bio right there if you are a service-based business provider. So typically you can say, you know, in a sentence or two, who do you serve? So let's say like, I serve busy moms, right? Stressed out busy moms. And then what do you help them with specifically? So I help busy moms regain their time and sanity back or something like that. You know, that taps into the tangible outcomes, right? The experience. So you help busy moms regain their time and energy back. And then how do you do it? So I do it through my, you know, one-on-one membership program or your 1 hour plant-based workshop course or whatever it is. That those were bad examples, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And then you can add your, yeah.
It's hard. I threw you right on the spot.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. And then you add, you can add like your why or like so they can, which is also an easy one to throw in there as well. So why does somebody want to why does a busy mom want to regain their life back anyway? Well, probably so they can spend more time with their kids, maybe so they can spend more time with their family, maybe so they can pursue a career while also being a mom. This really comes down to understanding your ideal client, which the niche workshop or the niche workbook will help with that in terms of before you write any messaging for your site, you have to really get in the mindset of who are the people that I really want to serve? Like think about your packages, think about all the knowledge you just gained from your certification and close your eyes and really think about like, who would be my most exciting client and what is their life like and why are they coming to my website? Because the other thing is that like your ideal client is usually coming to your website because there is a problem and it's probably health related. They're probably stressed out too because they're WebMDing stuff and it's telling them the worst of the worst, or they're just overwhelmed because they don't even, what is a health coach? You know, they feel like maybe this could be helpful for me, but I'm not exactly sure. You know, it's unfamiliar to them, but they have an issue and they just want to know, they just want to feel heard and seen. So something as simple as that, like, who do you serve? What do you help them with? How do you do it and why? Just like that, keep it clear, keep it in one sentence or two, maybe. Put that at the forefront of your website. That
and really break it down. Like I worked back when I was a wellness coach, I had a client, she's coming to mind, so I kind of want to share as an example and help people as well. Like, you know, when you break down a busy mom, so like she would have been, I help busy moms with kids in elementary school take the stress out of making healthy kid-approved meals so that they know what they're going to buy when they go to the grocery store and they end the dinner time fighting or something like that. Also not a great example, but
it's hard to come up with them on the spot. But
hopefully, like you're probably visual like me. Like I literally have to write and see things to put it together. And I know for me, and we can share that with people, like I think that's why going and like working through your workbook that you're providing is so important because you have to get everything out of your head and put it on paper to really go, what do I mean by that?
Yeah.
You know, like when we're saying busy moms, well, what busy mom am I really talking about? Am I talking about a mom with like 3 teenagers that are in and out of soccer games every weekend? Like, who is this busy mom? Like the newborns and that gives you that clarity. And like you said, as consumers, we're actively looking to have our problem solved. You know, so if you can just communicate that clearly, you've got your person, I don't want to say hooked, but you're meeting their need. And that's the purpose of all of the work that we as service providers are doing is help solve people's problems. I can't talk.
It's so hard. Solves people's problems. I know.
Thank you. I'm just gonna let you take over.
No, I'm right there with you. I always fumble over stuff like that. Yes, I agree. And it's so like if we're closing our eyes and taking stock of everything, because I get overwhelmed easily. So I know I've given a lot of information today. I've talked a lot, but if we're paring it down into the essentials of like, you're just getting started, right? So you're going to build this website. You're going to have this high quality photography that really is an example of you and your essence and your business, right? It's going to be high quality. And the other thing, side note, just a little side rant on photography, and like even just investing in your business and investing in your website and your photography and your messaging, it sends a message, right? So if you are investing in high quality photography and investing in the time to making your website look good and sends a message to your ideal client, that says you're taking your business seriously, right?
Yes.
I want to buy from people that are taking their business seriously. I am investing in this person. I want to see that they invest in themselves and their business.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you have to spend thousands of dollars all the time, but you do have to think about, what does this mean? And also it's an investment, you know, you do get a return on this kind of stuff. So anyway,
yeah, it's so important. Like, I know we're harping on photography and we're talking about websites, but I can tell you that even, you know, in helping people land media coverage, you will not get the placement if you do not have good photography. And if these things that we're talking about on the website, your messaging, you know, the clarity about who you are and what you do, if you don't have those things in place, it will cost you so many opportunities, not just with your ideal clients not finding you, but with developing relationships with other service providers, like all across the board. If you don't have these foundation things that you're teaching people about in order, there is a high cost that you'll pay on the back end for not taking the time to do it. Truly.
So true. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That's probably the best advice on this show today. I would say, if you're going to take away anything, it's that, because it's true. And so all of this stuff kind of works together in that way. And no, you don't have to have the best of the best or invest all of the money, but these are the things to really think about if you want to start actually gaining traction in your business to where you're actually making income, to where you can reinvest it into bigger and better things down the line. It's just what it comes down to. So yeah.
Could we kind of like outline, let's sum up for everybody, that kind of clear path that we want them to take to help them move towards, you know, stepping out of overwhelm. I know for me, because I am visual, this is exactly what I do for myself, is I chart that path. I write down, okay, these are the milestones I need to hit. So if we could kind of sum up the order in which people need to look at things and just cover those key points like on their journey, I think that would help them today.
Sure. So in terms of just specifically to like website design, right? And like setting up your website and getting ready to have your online presence ready to go. Yeah.
And incorporating all these elements we talked about, right? So we talked about the photography, the opt-in, your home, your service about page, kind of like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's break down the order and how they go about that.
That's a good question and something good to bring up, because I kind of went in like the reverse order in a way. I would say if you're like fresh, just got certified, you are ready to start your business, maybe you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, the first thing to do, I would suggest, is sitting down and brain dumping everything. So thinking about, the number one question I tell my clients to think about is like, what do you want to become known for? Do you want to be the go-to woman, like the go-to holistic nutritionist for, you know, gut health and gut healing, natural gut healing? Like, really step into what it would feel like if you became that person. So I really don't think that like any of the other stuff is going to work and be as fun and exciting if you're not getting in that headspace first. So solidify like that vision for yourself, and also solidify the vision of who are the people that you want to serve. It might change down the line, and that's okay. And you might not have a totally clear vision when you first start, and that's also okay. You will figure it out as you go. But try to take the time and ask yourself questions of like, why did I even get into this in the first place? Usually that's where your answer is. That's where you discover who you want to be known for and who you want to serve. So once you really dig into that, I would suggest then kind of doing all of these other elements before even getting into the website phase. So I would say start with kind of your messaging And so everything we were talking about with messaging, like go through this workbook, look up, different examples of people that you feel like do it well, and really determine how you're going to communicate to the world and to your ideal clients, like who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and why, right?
Kind of that brand bio is what we're going to, right? Get that clarified.
Get your brand bio clarified. And then try to come up with your packages, because that is also an important aspect of your website. Your visitors want to see exactly like how they can work with you. So you can't come onto your website and say, you have a beautiful brand bio statement, but then you don't have an actual way for them to have that delivered to them, right?
And it can be simple. Just pick one thing at first.
Exactly. One thing. Yeah. It can change. You can expand upon it. Just pick one thing and try it out. So you've nailed that down. You've nailed down your messaging. And then you want to move into more of this phase of creating your opt-in, I would say, and also doing your photography. So I would say at the same time, this is all like the pre-work. So if you're working with me one-on-one, we do all of this strategy stuff beforehand, before we ever dip our toes into the web design process. So it should be the same for your community and this audience when they're first starting out, right?
Right.
Before you even think about getting into a website, nail this down, your audience, your messaging, who you want to become known for. Then with that, you'll kind of discover maybe what a helpful opt-in would be. So you can go ahead and create that, like in Canva, something super simple. So you have that ready to go when you're ready to build your website. Then start thinking about the look and feel of your website. Go on to Pinterest like I suggested. You can have a couple of boards, one for your actual website, and then one for the photography piece, right? Then start researching brand photographers in your area. You can literally go on Google. You can ask your community. I'm sure there's other business owners that maybe in your area. You can ask. I go on Instagram and just stalk people based off of location. Whatever works for you, try to find and book that photography session. So I would say get your photos solidified and ready to go before you move into the website. And then once you have your audience, your messaging, your opt-in ready to go, and your photography is literally, in your inbox, it's signed, sealed, delivered, then look into either a website template or like setting up your website DIY style off of a platform and actually build it out. And then use this workbook. Like I said, it'll help you like walk through what you need to think about with each section of your website, because there is a good natural flow that you should have on the homepage of your website, as well as like services and about. But I feel like I've already gone over so far in time today, but that it is covered in the copy workbook that kind of helps give you a vision of thinking about testimonials. And if you don't have testimonials yet, I also have information on my blog about how you can just like get them when you're first starting, because that's also an important part. So then website, then you're ready to rock, and then just go live. Even if you feel like it's not perfect, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Just get the ball rolling.
Go along. That's normal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So no, I think that was so helpful. So just to kind of wrap up, everybody head on over to kinshipcontent.com. You can find the Copy That Converts workbook there. And there's so much valuable information on Lizzie's blog as well. So all of these things that she's talked about, I was stalking her blog before we did this interview. You can dive deeper on her site. So I know we like dumped a ton of information at you guys in this interview, but probably her blog and that Copy That Converts workbook are the best next steps. And then you can kind of get a feel for where you need to go next and take the steps that we've implemented or that we've talked about today and implement them. A little backwards thinking sometimes.
No worries. But perfect.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. It's been such a valuable interview, and I'm in love because you say everything that I'm always saying. So you're preaching to my choir.
Exactly.
I'm like, yes. These things
we're on the same wavelength.
Are just essentials for sure.
Yes. Well, I hope it was helpful. Sometimes I get in the mindset of, I've just been doing this for so long. I think, oh yeah, people just know this, but then I forget that, no. There's a lot of stuff I don't know that I'm not familiar with. So I hope it was helpful. I hope I said some tidbits of things today that people could take home and really utilize for their own businesses.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out in the comments wherever you catch this interview, or also reach out to Lizzie directly via her website, and we'll be happy to answer some questions for you guys.
Yes, awesome.
So thanks so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.